So I just took delivery of a pretty cool pack, and I'm gonna have my son bring it in here. Bring it over here, Callum Chang. And here it is. This is the Peak Design travel backpack, and it's actually a 35-liter bag, even though they advertise it as a 45-liter bag. It's only a 45-liter bag if you expand it. And let me start with that so I can help you understand what's going on. Right now, the way I have it configured, it's in the 30-liter situation. And you can tell it is because this area up here is tapered, right? And then it gets wider towards the bottom. So having that ability to tuck in this area up here shrinks this bag down, and it actually makes it into what some could use as a daily carry bag. In fact, I would not have any problem using this as a daily carry once I reach my destination. So again, this is the 30-liter size. And then if you pop the bag like so, you can see it no longer tapers. Now it's as wide at the top as it is at the bottom. This is now in the 35-liter situation. And this is TSA friendly, meaning that you can bring this on board and it's going to pass. It'll be able to fit in that funny little cage that you have just before you get on board. And easily will be able to fit in the overhead compartment. It's a little big to be able to slide underneath the seat in front of you, of course, as most of these bags are. I mean, even you wouldn't do that with your rolling luggage. You wouldn't stick that in the area in front of your seat or underneath the seat in front of you. So this is the version that you would use if you were flying, right? And then let's say you pack a ton of gifts at the destination and you need more room. Well, you can easily do that because this will expand. If you unzip these side zippers, this now brings it up to the full 45-liter bag. Unfortunately, at this point, it's no longer TSA friendly, so you'd probably have to check the bag, which is kind of a bummer. I don't know if I'd want to check this bag, but at least you have the option there, right? So it gives you the option to have the 45-liter bag. Now, just as a point of comparison, this is the maxed out 45-liter bag. This too is the Tortuga set out. This is I think this is a 45-liter bag. This actually does allow you to bring it on board the plane without any issues. You'd be able to put this in the overhead compartment because it does keep its 9-inch narrow figure. It's just a little bit taller and wider, which is what allows it to be the same size as this guy. And then if we take here, this is the Air Travel Pack 2, and this is a 33-liter bag. So if I were to compress this back down to its 35-liter bag size, these bags are essentially equivalent in size. So that'll give you a sense of what's going on. And then lastly, if I go ahead and snap this all back together, put the corners back in, and I compare it to something like this Osprey, which is a 26-liter bag. This is clearly something that you could use as a daily carry. You can see that it's pretty narrow. It's only 26 liters. So when you compare that, this is your typical sort of crossover day pack. Compare that to this guy, you'll see that right here, the Air is considerably bigger, but not so big that you'd be embarrassed to use this as a daily carry once you got to your destination. All right, so there you go. It has a lot of different options because it can change its shape and size. Now, I will admit that I haven't yet traveled with this bag, so we'll see what it's like when I'm actually out there with it under load over multiple days. So this is really just an overview. But you should know that there's a lot of brilliant engineering that's going on here, great design that's going on here, that allows this suspension system, which has a hip belt and comfortable shoulder straps, to completely tuck away. So let me show you how that works here. So you can see I have these hip belts, and I can flip this, slide these hip belts in here to get them out of the way, and then take the shoulder straps and do the same thing. Tuck these guys out of the way, and then magnetically it attaches down there. You have to be careful, it can get a little bit bulky, and then therefore the magnets can't reach it. And sure I can tuck that in a little bit better than I have. Do the same thing over on this side. Take that shoulder strap, tuck it in there. Oh, I did a much better job of that one. What's going on here? There we go. Maybe that's better. All right, and now you can see that it's completely clean. And the beauty of that is that if you're moving down the aisle of a jet or something like that, there's nothing here to snag, right? It's all nice and smooth. It's like a duffel bag in that way. And in fact, there's the central handle if you want to carry it this way, although this is really designed to slide over rolling luggage. But you also have a handle on this side, a handle over on this side. You have a handle on the top, and you even have a handle on the bottom. I actually think this is terrifically handy because most of us, when we're taking one of these bags and we're putting it in the overhead compartment, we put it in top first, right? It's going to fit in there better because it slopes slightly. And then when we go to grab this thing out of the overhead compartment, we can grab it by the handle and yank it out, and you can grab it by this hand. I mean, it's just great to have handles on all sides of this bag. It really makes it much easier to deal with when you're traveling. Let's take a look at the main compartment. There are multiple ways in which you can access this main compartment, which I think is pretty cool. The first is, if you're packing it up, you'd probably want to access it in this way. And that is to unzip this whole back panel, which is the suspension system. And when you flop this open, as you can see, you have access to this entire 35-liter compartment. And look here, you can see what I'm talking about. Here are the snaps that I had snapped earlier that make this into the 30-liter daily carry option. So they're right there, and they're not. You would think that they're really hard to snap together. They're actually shockingly easy to sort of get in there and do it blindly. And so, well, there it's there. So you can see it does cut down a little bit on the volume, which makes it better for you to use as a daily carry, of course. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and pop that open. But here we have access to the main compartment. You'll see there are a bunch of little tabs here, lash points. And in fact, there's some fun little button-like hook things here, more lash points here. Those points are all for you to add their extra bags that you buy after the fact. So they have a camera insert in small, medium, and large that would fit in there. And it locks into these tabs so that it doesn't shift all over the place. They also have a DOP kit of sorts, and they have a little tech bag. And all those things could be locked in place too if you use that. I don't have those things. I would just be using my packing cubes, tossing things in here. I think it'll work out just fine. Notice here that this panel, which is actually in the front of the bag, because don't forget, this is where the suspension system was. You had zippered access to an organizer panel here, zippered access to an organizer panel that has a mesh to it so that you can see what's inside of there. And then on this side, you can see that we have the place where you can put a 15-inch laptop. There's also a sleeve just inside here where you could fit a 9.7-inch tablet, so the classic iPad size. And it is, well, no, it's not particularly padded in any sort of way, but it'll keep it separate from your laptop. And also keep in mind that when this thing is closed up, you essentially can get access to the computer without having to open up the entirety of your bag, right? You just unzip this top portion, like so, and then reach in, open up that Velcro, although I probably won't use that Velcro, and stick your computer right down in there or grab it from out of there as well. Okay? So again, that's when you're packing the bag, you'd want to open up the panel in that way. But then we also have a different way of accessing things from the side. So let's say you're on the move and you need to grab out, I don't know, a new lens or something. And that means you can do it without opening up the entire bag. You can just, with it on your shoulder, one of your shoulders, you can swing it around and have side access to whatever you want to get out of this bag. So that's pretty handy. And also, this is classic Peak design, having the side access look the way it does. There's also one on the other side. So if you happen to have stored the lens on the other side, you can get it that way as well. While we're on the side here, notice here there's a nice sized pocket. This will no problem fit a large Nalgene. And then hidden just behind it is a small pocket where you could tuck, I don't know, granola bar or a pair of gloves or something like that. Well, not probably a pair of gloves unless they were really thin liners, but something small will fit in here. And it actually is slightly gusseted as well. So yeah, it's, well, if you had your water bottle in here, it would be hard to fit anything more than a granola bar into that area. But maybe put your passport, put your wallet there potentially, right? So again, it's a combination of a water bottle and a sort of a hidden security pocket back in there. And if you flip it over, you got the same thing going on this side. Zippered pocket, water bottle access, or small tripod. On the front panel here, you can see here I have a quick access pocket. This is where I typically put my sunglasses, and it's lined with sort of a soft khaki-like material in there. And it does have some padding up front, so it would protect it in case you smash this into the side of a wall or something. Okay, so let's spin around and take a look at what's on the front panel here. And when I unzip this and open it up, all right, so one of the things I want to point out here is that this panel that you see right here is actually the same as the panel that you saw in the main compartment. In fact, what's kind of amazing about this is that you have access to this mesh pocket up here through this side, but if we go over and flip this back over again, and you unzip this all the way, this is the exact same pocket. It goes right on through. So you can see that I can access it from this side or this side. They have two zippers to be able to accommodate that. And then on top of that, the same thing is the case for this pocket down on the bottom. Also has two zippers, so you can access it either from the main compartment or from this organizer panel side of things. Okay. The organizer panel itself, I have to admit, is a wee bit disappointing. Number one, I think it's kind of a pain that it's actually behind this mesh pocket here. So every time I want to get access to a pencil or a pen, or maybe I want to keep my wallet, or I actually don't know exactly what I would keep in here because these pockets are a little bit small. But let's say I want to get access to a pen. I'd have to unzip this in order to get access to it. So then you might say, well, just leave it unzipped. Well, then what's the point, really? I mean, if that's the point, I would have just rather not had this be a zippered access panel at all and move this pocket below so that it's a mesh pocket that allows you to be able to get to things like your dongles or your chargers or whatever it is that you might have in here. As it is, they do have a pocket below here, but this is opaque. So anything you keep in here, you won't be able to see. The other beauty of this is that there's some dimension to it. So it would be really nice if they just moved this and replaced it with this pocket, or no, I'm sorry, moved it down to replace this pocket, left this area up here open. But there is one problem here. If you leave this open like that, and you go to unzip this, and this thing flops over, and you have your pens in there, they're going to fall out. It would have been better, it always is better to put the organizer panel against here, because then your stuff won't fall out of your organizer panel when you open up the flap. So I think that's kind of a major design flaw. I realize you couldn't probably have access the same way you do, having access to both the front, this pocket through the front or through the main compartment. But to me, I would rather have this organizer panel on here rather than where it is right there. So not the best here, but maybe they'll listen to me, and on generation 2 of this travel pack, they'll actually shift where that organizer panel goes. All right, there is one more thing that I want to show you folks about the design of this pack. This panel that you're looking at right here is actually removable. Not entirely removable, but you can roll it out of the way. And what this allows you to do is to gain access to that main compartment if you want to. And in fact, you can roll it up and you can tuck it inside of this little pouch right here that you can see there to get it totally out of the way. Now, this might be one of the reasons why they didn't want to put, in fact, it probably is the reason why they didn't want to put the organizer panel for your pens and such on this panel, because if you had your pens and all that such on there, you couldn't easily roll it and get it out of the way. So, I mean, obviously it's compromise that you have to have there. The only other thing I guess I could imagine is instead of having the quick access pocket here, they could have actually made it so that you would get access to the organizer panel from this area. So make this zipper continue all the way around. You'd be able to open it up, get access to your pens, your wallet, etc. And then they would have to move the quick access back to an area here that would drop into the main compartment. I don't think that would be so bad, in fact, because to have my glasses further away from where they could get hit if I push this up against a seat or a wall or something, it would protect something like my sunglasses. This is really not a full review because I haven't had a chance to actually use this, take it out for a multi-day trip, but I will say that it does look pretty promising. There are some nice design ideas that went into this pack, which is no surprise. Peak Design really does. They're a pretty smart group of people there. And it is, as you would expect with Peak Design, it's robustly built with great materials, so I would not expect that this thing would fail on you halfway through a trip. All right, so thanks for watching. Take a look at my other reviews of packs. Give me a thumbs up or subscribe, and I hope to see you soon. Bye. Hey, Kobe and Everett, look who I have in this video before you guys. Bye.